Really enjoying the Hail Caesar rules and getting my figures out on the table to play some games with. So this next battle is going to feature Carthaginians and some Numidian allies against Romans, Italians, and they have some Celtic cavalry supporting them. Each army is made up of 750 points, and so they're fairly evenly matched. The Carthaginians have 5 divisions. The Romans have 5 divisions as well. So this is their strongest legion, a veteran legion, here on the right flank. They have some Samnites here in the woods. Another legion. And then this is an Italian legion, so they're all levy. And then this is the Celtic cavalry getting ready. On the Carthaginian right, these are their veteran phalanxes, veteran infantry, so that's the strongest part of their army. They have a small cavalry division there and supporting the left flank. Then some citizens and Libyan infantry, and they're supported by these elephants. I love these Victrix elephants and the little Big Man Studio transfers. They just look really great. The Numidians, large amount of cavalry there, their infantry, and then some more Libyan spearmen and some citizen spearmen with some skirmishers in the front. So again, both sides, I think the Carthaginians have 752 points and the Romans 751. So when I have, looking forward to starting this battle sometime this week, and I'll keep you posted. Two turns have been played. The first turn basically saw both sides advancing. The only real action was here on the Roman right, where a group of Carthaginian skirmishers inflicted a casualty, and that was the first blood of the game. But the second turn saw a lot of action. Here on the right, this is the 3rd Legion, and they're the veteran legion. And they rolled a 3 for their command, and so they were able to advance 18 inches. And so that allowed them, these two groups here, to charge into 2 groups of Numidians. They won the combat and drove them back significantly. On the right here, those citizen spearmen, even though they lost the combat by 1 to the Roman cavalry and their support of skirmishers, they rolled very well on the break test, so they were able to stand. The Romans have this advantage where they charge, and because they're charging, they hit on 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. But because of their pilum, the defenders' morale test is reduced by 1, so they would only save on 6s. So that was a huge advantage there. On the second turn, the Samnites didn't move, so their reluctance is evident. And then here in the middle, this is the 4th Legion, and they charged. Those groups took out an elephant, and then the elephant was gone, and so they continued on into some citizen spearmen behind them. This next turn, we'll see these guys charge into those elephants. The real heroes of the day were the 3rd Legion's cavalry element. The Carthaginian cavalry charged, and stunningly, they had received 5 hits. They didn't save a single one, so they lost the combat. The unit was broken, the supports were driven back, And the Roman cavalry has followed that up by charging into some Libyan spearmen. And this will be the first time that one of the good units of the Carthaginians will be at play. So the Romans won't get the added addition because of the long spears. And then finally over here, this Celtic cavalry has not moved 2 turns. They're just obviously weren't paid enough or whatever. And the Italian legion here has not been very aggressive either. But countering that, the veterans of the best units in the Carthaginian army have only moved 1 turn at a time, 1 move at a time. So, but I would assume that this next turn could see some action there. So overall, the Romans have done well initially. They've lost 1 group of skirmishers, but that's it. And the Carthaginians have lost a unit of cavalry, 1 of their elephants, and a unit of skirmishers after 2 turns. So turn 3 should see, hopefully, the Carthaginians' better infantry get involved, and that could be a huge difference. This is turn 3. The first part, the Romans won the initiative. So here on the right flank, they continued to press the Carthaginian flank here. These citizen spearmen have done yeoman work. They've lost both rounds, but their break tests have set them apart, so where they've held their ground. Here in the middle, these Libyan spearmen won, but again, the Romans won their break test. The 2 groups there have pressed hard, and they destroyed a Numidian medium infantry group, and they've broken through. And then the Samnites have also pressed forward. They scored 3 moves and charged forward and destroyed the other 2 Numidian infantry groups there. So large amount of success. Here in the middle, the 4th Legion. They've defeated that elephant and it retreated. They followed up on that. This group of Hastati have been basically stopped by some citizen spearmen. And then the cavalry here charged into those Libyan spearmen. Their long spears stopped them, and even though they've won the combat, they were able to hold their ground. But and then here on the right, again, the Italians somewhat hesitant, and the Celtic cavalry just got 1 move. But I would imagine in the Carthaginian turn, part of the turn, that this is going to change. So now let's get to see what happens on the Carthaginian side. They need some things to go their way, otherwise this battle is going to be over quite quickly. Well, on the Carthaginian end of the turn, did not go well for the Carthaginians and Numidians. The citizen infantry here were destroyed. The Libyan spearmen are holding their own, but they are pretty much outnumbered at this point. They've stalled the elite Roman legion here. But on the other side, the Numidians have just melted like butter. Now the only thing standing between the Carthaginians are some small cavalry units, and we'll see what they can do. But so far they haven't been holding up well. Here, the elephant has held its own, but it's getting very close to being shaken. And here, the citizen infantry in the back had to pull back, and now the Libyan spearmen are going to try to hold. some success here as the 4th Legion's cavalry was driven back, but in good order. So they're still intact, though both of them are now shaken with 4 casualties. And then the veterans charged home. The one here on the right was a draw. This group was able to drive back 2 groups, but now they are moving forward into the Triarii and will have their hands full there. And then 2 groups of Celtic cavalry, very formidable, are going to face off against the last unit of veterans. So it's not looking good. The numbers are definitely on the side of the Romans at this stage. Turn 4 will be pivotal, decisive, I'm sure. So we'll keep you posted. Turn 4 is now completed. The Romans won the initiative. On the right flank here, their elite legion basically were held by these Libyan spearmen. But in the center, the Samnites and the other part of the legion completely obliterated the Numidians. There's nothing left there in the center, which is allowing the Samnites now to turn the corner and flank. Here on the hill, this group, a group of Hastati, basically held off these spearmen for several turns, finally breaking. And then on the Carthaginian turn, these guys burst forward, routed some cavalry, but that was about it. On the Carthaginian turn, this unit rolled a 9, so they couldn't do anything. This elite cavalry only got 1 command, so they were only able to move so far. And the Carthaginians here only got 1 move, so they could only go so far. This phalanx to the right won their victory and came up in support of this phalanx going up against the Triarii. And even so, with all that overwhelming force, the Triarii, because these guys aren't in support, they were driven back, were able to fight these guys to a draw. The Celts, on their initiative, charged that phalanx, lost the combat, and were driven back. The Italian Legion rolled an 11, so they weren't able to move on their initiative. So basically, not as much happened as could have happened. But I think I'm going to stop the game here after 4 turns. The Carthaginians are in very, very bad shape. Their elite phalanxes here, though they've been successful, have suffered 3 casualties, 5, so they're close to being shaken, as are these remaining units here. Those elephants are going to be taken out. The Numidians are completely gone. These Libyan spearmen are fighting well, but again, they're wearing down, and the Romans have fresh units. So it's been a fun game, but I think it's been fought to its natural conclusion. I'm still learning some of the nuances. One of the things I need to check up on is following up after a victory, how far they can go, and unsupported, if they don't pass their evade test, do they just get picked up if they're contacted? So some of the subtleties, but overall I think I'm getting the mechanics and enjoying it very much. Again, really enjoying this renaissance of picking up Hail Caesar and playing them and adding to my collection.